Okay. What do you drink?
Bacardi.
Beer. Said Bacardi. All right. Beer. What kind of beer?
We had a couple more on Rainville.
Do ya? I'm a closet Grainville drinker too. I like that. Where are you from?
New Ulm.
New Ulm?
No, I can't speak.
Grainville is, yes.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Clearwater. All right. How about you? What do you drink?
Whiskey.
Whiskey. What kind of whiskey?
I like Jameson.
Oh, where are you from? Where at? Jameson. How old are you? Okay. All right. We're getting some diversity here. How about you? Mass Arn. Yep.
Used to be Old Mill. Quite proud of that.
Yeah?
Yep. Then I gave that up, to Michelob Ultra.
Oh, stepping it up a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Old Mill wasn't cool.
All right. Anything wrong with drinking? No. Absolutely not. I want to put that out there right away. This is the Army Substance Abuse Prevention class. I'm not here to preach to you about drinking or tell you that you're doing something wrong. Do we have a problem with drinking in the military?
Yep.
Yes.
Why? Do we?
It's controlling it. I don't think there's a problem drinking.
Okay, fair enough. Do we have a problem drinking in the Army?
Yes.
Why?
Binging.
Binging? You're absolutely right. That's one reason. All right, you guys are instructors. You know the deal. I have about 100 PowerPoints, and I'm sure the boss will give me lots of flexibility on the time. I'm going to try not to use most all of them and give you the official Army class, or I can give you the highlights. I think I'm going to give you the highlights. We've got a pretty good group in here as far as rank. I'm sure you guys fairly stay out of trouble. Fairly. I've looked at some of your surveys that tell me that there are a couple of drinkers in the room. People like to have a good time, and it tells me that you're honest on your unit risk inventory. So, all right, talking about drinking. Said it's not bad. Said we do have a problem in the Army. Binge drinking. What else?
Why?
Say again?
You guys still asking me why we have?
Yeah. Why do you think we have a problem in the Army drinking?
It's socially acceptable.
Socially accepted more?
Put a bunch of people together, put a bunch of pressure on them, and make them all kind of like let loose together in a group.
Right? What do we do when we come to Camp Ripley? You guys are here all the time, but you've been in other units, you come to Ripley, if you have any downtime, sit around and have a few beers, right? That's the way you unwind. Nothing wrong with it. However, my point is that it leads to problems because of the choices that we make and how we handle it. Okay? Is there anybody in the room that could say that maybe they start drinking a little too much over time?
Yep.
Got some people in their 40s. I could say that. I'm right there, easily. I tell you, I like drinking. I like having a few beers. I can't drink Jameson. My friends in the Army, because those are my brothers and sisters, my family, tell me, you're not allowed to drink Jameson. Because you're kind of smart ass when you're sober, but when you get to Jameson, you know everything, right? I know that about me. There's nothing wrong with that. Last time I drank Jameson was at a military funeral afterwards. That was my only one time I was allowed with those same friends, and we didn't go anywhere. Okay? Those are choices and those are limits that I know and that my friends know. So when I say that, what I ask from you guys in this room and when you're out there instructing service members is to look out for each other. Okay? We're going to talk about that. Can you look out for each other? Can we do this?
Yes.
Okay, that's what this class comes down to. I can give you all the boring stuff. I can give you all the Department of Health stuff. Right here is where it's at. It's the same thing with suicide prevention. It's the same thing for any problem we have in the military. When we focus on it, we get at it. And that's where it's at. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is me. Some of you will probably recognize me. I've been around for a long time. Retired AGR. Last duty assignment was deployment cycle support. Saw a lot of people coming and going and their families. I was in for 27 years, 23 of which AGR. This is me. I'm a little older with younger kids now. That's the day I retired. That was 2013. So family, background on me, I'm divorced, 2 kids. My former spouse is in the military. She works full time. And before I started this job, the reason why this job hits home for me is because I had some losses in my family with substance abuse, drugs and drinking. I had brothers that died, 2 of them that died around the same time, same age as me. And it was just, that was their choice. They drank, that was their job, basically. That's how they were. And drugs too. Different generation gaps, but nevertheless, they are my brothers, were my brothers, so it hit me pretty good. It also hit me because I noticed sometimes when I drink, I do stupid shit. So I thought, if I'm doing that and I see it with my peers in the Army, then maybe I can help do something about that. Okay. Well, at the same time, my kids, their mom was in a fatal car crash, and that's what that looked like. And even when we were married, I never really thought about this because I went out drinking. You know, I'd come home after having a few beers, I drove or whatever, never thought about the fact that my spouse had been in such a tragic car accident where she had to learn to walk again, half of her face was caved in. Just crazy, ribs popped out, hips popped out. She's alive, thank goodness, because she was real close to Mayo Clinic. She's going to college down in that area. So, it's around us, isn't it? Can we all say that? Have we seen this? Have you ever lost anybody in the military to a car crash? Have we? Anybody want to share? Would you consider sharing? Anyone?
Sure.
Go ahead, Persona.
I was a young specialist and I worked in operations in Camp Ripley. We thought it was okay to go out to the canteen drinking, and we all went home at the state post, and Sergeant left and he got in a head-on collision and died. And he had a baby on the way.
Wow. It's tragic. Anybody else? Wow. Thanks for sharing.
E6 was heading up to Duluth. He was ADOS down here, and he's on 210, a little crappy road, and 6 o'clock in the morning, boom, smoked him.
Remember that.
Semi smoked him.
Yeah, I grew up in Duluth when I was with the armor up there and the artillery when we were up there in the air defense. And yeah, I do remember that. So take the rank out of it. Did it matter when we lost somebody what the rank was, what their status was in the unit? And here's my point. We don't really see this, but you guys will see it as instructors. And I'm asking you again to look out for soldiers when they're out there. And why? Because it hurts when we lose somebody. Okay? My point is, it doesn't matter what rank they were. We lost somebody in a unit that was kind of marginal, which tends to happen to most of the crowd in the Guard. They from suicide or poor choices, you know, out drinking, drugs, whatever, E4 to E1. That soldier, like I said, was kind of a marginal soldier. When that individual died in our unit, it hit hard. It hit hard when I had to give the flag to the family. You know, it's brutal. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about all this other fluff that goes with statistics and all that. I'm going to show you that, just so you're aware of what we're up against. But that's where it's at, okay? Everybody in this room. So we'll just take care of this group right now. We've agreed to that. And also take it one step further when soldiers are here. Getting classes from you. And not the lecture, okay? Not the old first sergeant lecture that we've had over the years. Hey, you need to be careful, and this is why. Okay? Throw a heartfelt story in it. Throw that story into it, or that one. Think about it. Those are the ones that are payoff targets for us when we give these classes, is to have testimonials. So you're getting my brief this year, but when you have somebody else in again, ma'am, let's bring in a testimonial. We've got the highway patrol right next door here that will help with that, so consider that. Okay? And that's why we give these classes. Okay, I'll move on. A couple other cars that were in that accident. See, that's the worst one. All right, look at this. What do you think about that when you read that? What do you think, Mr. King?
Behind.
Would you think that's the way it is in Minnesota, some of those stats?
That's frightening. I drive a lot every day. And to divide that by 365, that's telling me there's quite a few drunks on the road. Hopefully not when I'm on the road.
All right. Thanks, go ahead.
Have you seen any stats about how often somebody drives drunk before they
Yes.
start ticketed? I think that's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. You just ask the question of how many times did they drive drunk before they got caught. I don't I can't quote you the exact number, but it's really
It was in
high.
the hundreds.
Yeah, I think it was like 138 times, but it's pretty high, so that's brutal. All right, so what stands out to you the most here?
The age.
Military age.
The age? Why? Is anybody under 29 in here? What do you think, Williams? Does that stand out to you?
I mean, just judging from my peers and my people that are younger than my peers, that like move from my age group, I'm 22, that seems fairly small.
Doesn't it? Yes, it does. So the people that were in my group and the people that are no longer in my group, we're gonna talk about that a little bit further. That was a good statement. All right. So, you guys said the age stands out. What area does this also hit on for ages in the military? What do you think? Privates, E4 and below, E5. What else? Are you guys instructing people that are at this age group? Some, right? As the RTI, you guys are doing re-MOSQ? Yeah, okay. This is also the age group where we have a lot of problems with suicide, right? Right? You think you can relate to that group? We just had that other diversity class, we talked about different ages and how we get along with diversity. Do you think you can relate to that group? Yeah? I know Williams can. Go ahead.
I got an update here. As of 15th November, I'm a little bit behind because I was looking. The Minnesota National Guard has 31 DUIs this year.
31.
31 is what we track.
This is for the fiscal year, starting October 1st?
No.
Or calendar year?
That's a big difference.
Thank you. This is where we're at and where we got to kind of readjust, I think, as senior leaders. And we need to really get to the level of the soldiers that are in this bracket and just talk to them, right? You know why? Because you guys are in here, you're kind of in a controlled environment with your classes, but when you're in your normal units, what is that like? Isn't that chaos? Isn't it? Because you got to do hand receipts, you got to do NCRs, you got to go through bullshit resilience training, substance abuse prevention training, EO, blah, blah. You know the deal, right? How do we ever get training done? How do we ever get time with our soldiers? Isn't that right? You have time with our soldiers when we go to AT, maybe? You're out in the tank, or you're sitting around in your sections, maybe? I encourage you guys to think about this, that at every opportunity you try to talk to the folks that are, all of you, not just this age bracket, let me clarify, all of us, take a little more time to talk to each other. This guy in the back of the room, Major Ron Jarvie, we know each other pretty well. We used to work out at DCS. Every time I talk to that individual, and that's nothing to do with where he came from, he asks me, how are you doing? How are you doing? Right? We do that. Don't we do that naturally? It's just who we are. Same thing with Major Krenz, who works here. Same thing. Hey, Warren, how are you? He's my old boss. How you doing? How are the kids? How are the family? How long does that take, sir?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, right? You know when I'm down?
Absolutely.
You ever see me down?
Almost.
Well, I did. I had a lot of turmoil when I was getting started in my career. Not because of my career, but because of personal choices and relationships. Right? What did you do?
See where I can, first I listen and then see where I can help out and what else.
Yep. Grabbed me and said, hey, what's going on? No, at that point, I don't think he saw a substance abuse problem, but he would have. He would have, because he'd be able to tell by my actions if I was coming in late or not coming in at all or smelling like I was boozed up or something like that. My point is, we gotta ask. We gotta ask our soldiers. We gotta take the time to talk to each other, right? And I said, let's look out for each other, because that's really where it's at. We find out, and I can remember, and I don't know about you, but in the past, I remember when senior NCOs would talk to me and they looked out for me, and I needed it. Sometimes it kicked me in the ass, you know. I remember specifically one time cut and drill because I was out drinking in Wisconsin. I called and gave some bullshit answer. And my car was broke down, whatever. When I got back into town, I got a wake-up call on that senior NCO. And I came over where I work, because he could, and I said, hey, let me talk to you. He straightened me out quickly. It took that little extra, didn't have to do that. Still does that, and I do that for him too. But that's what I'm getting at, that's where it's at. So let me move on a little bit more. The one thing that I would like to point out here is, yes, 73% also are males. Why do you think that is? Williams, why do you think that is?
Higher peer pressure rate.
Higher peer pressure rate. Do we give each other peer pressure? You do that, Master?
Oh, all the time.
Still, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Egos.
Ego, yeah, we got some egos, don't we? My car, I got this. I can handle my booze. You don't know what you're talking about. Let's see, we mostly got males in this room. We got 3 or 4 females. Guys, have you ever told your lady or significant other to shut up? I got this, I'm in control, I can drive. In better words, hopefully, but don't tell me I'm flying, right? Ladies, do you do that?
No.
She's like, hey, whatever, you want to drive? Because I can have some more wine. Yeah, I can have another beer. Why is that? Why? Come on, ladies,
I think
hammer us.
culturally, that's how most of us were brought up, is that as a female, or if you have a male partner, they take care, or men are brought up to be like a caretaker, or to be in charge, or to be in that decision-making role. Now granted, that's all changing in our world today, which is for the better, but I think historically, you guys think you need to take care of us all the
It's true. I agree. What else? Who else? What do you think, Art?
I think we're just smarter.
Yes! Guys, they are smarter when it comes to this. We are so stupid. So stupid. Let's be honest. Go ahead, son.
Historically, males take greater risk.
We're risk takers? Sure.
And that age group probably hasn't seen the devastation like the pictures that they haven't had to be there and seen that, or be part of that, or live through that.
Yep. That's exactly right. We learn, as we get a little older, we learn from experiences. So we gotta help them with that. That's what we do in the Army. We share. What's up, ma'am?
Howard is, I think he's really on to something when he says, he talks about risk taking, and, and that's genderless. There's some women who are more risk taking, and I know that when I was in that age group, I made some poor decisions, and so I think it is a person who, a little more risk taking is kind of part of their personality, and might lead to some of those decisions, whether they're real or not. So, but I think risk taking is kind of a key trait.
Absolutely, and education too. Upbringing. We say that drinking is socially accepted. This is Minnesota, this is Wisconsin, we drink. What do? We go ice fishing, we drink. When I leave you guys, I'm going deer hunting, I'm gonna have some beers, I'm here to tell you. And we'll be kind of smart about it and be controlled, but that's what we do, don't we? We watch hockey, we have a few beers, we watch baseball. But it's about the choices. What happens when you're having those beers? And is there a pattern that could go the wrong way? That's where it's at. Okay. One thing about, I don't know, as you're growing up, it's hard for people to teach you about relationships. It is easy to put them to teach you about choices if they're on the right path. Okay? With Ron Jarvie, how he got me on the right path is he simply asked me to go to church with him once. It's like, okay, whatever. Last time I went to church, it's Lutheran in there. I can hardly read a Bible because I don't know, there's so many D's and Thous and this and that. But he took me to a place and it made a difference for me. It made a difference, and it really makes a difference now. So much different that I take my kids there because I don't have all the tools to teach my children correctly. I don't. Came from a single parent home. My kids are kind of in the same position except for mom's involved 50-50. But these are generation things. I sat and talked to my sister about this, I grew up with 8 brothers and sisters. I said, Mom didn't really watch us very much for me. It was like after age 10, I did whatever I wanted to. I'm the same way now, ain't I, sir? I'm the same way. It's hard to get in my head and tell me I'm going to do something different if unfocused on a task. It's just how I am. It's independence. It's resilience because you had to be that way. I've been on my own since I was 16. The only thing that saved me was the military, for sure, because I could have got into all kinds of trouble. But my point is, something has changed that path. For me, it was going to church so far, even at 48. But for others, it may be the difference in when you're talking to them at drill. You know, like I said, that one NCO that talked to me to kick me in line, you know, resulted in me getting a full-time job. They said, come on, you're a great soldier. You just need a little focus. So that's what it's all about, and that's what we got to keep in our minds as we get caught up in all this busyness, or when people are talking about drinking and driving, because it's not whether somebody gets a DWI or whether they're in jail, it's whether you kill somebody, right? Whether somebody comes out of here and they kill somebody because you decided not to make the extra step, or we did. All right, 1 in 7 will get DWIs. What do you think about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Williams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't read your name.
Davis.
Glasses on. Look, 7, right? Are you getting the point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. First sergeant. Do you think it's true in this room? I promise you it's true. It's probably higher. I promise you it's true. I've done the stats on it. You can run record checks on anybody. It's surprising. It's just the way it is. You know, when I grew up north getting the DWI, did it matter? No, it didn't matter. People gave me shit. Like, oh, it sucks to be you. Your insurance is going up. Let's go have a beer. Right? That's changed. It's changed in the military. It's changed in society. But it takes time, just like cigarettes, right? All you old timers, remember everybody used to smoke in the military and chew. We're still a little higher in the chew area, but isn't that crazy that went away, right? $8 for a pack of cigarettes. You gotta go stand out in the cold. Now everybody kind of notices you more than they used to. It took time. It's just like this drinking stuff. All right. I don't need to go into that. You guys know the deal. It costs a ton of money. The biggest thing about DWIs is what happens when you're at a certain percentage. What happens when you're at a little larger percent, which happens quite frequently.
Felony status
Yeah.
based on alcohol
Yeah.
percentage.
Yes, bad news, bad news. And that's just a couple more beers, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. All right. Let's see. Let's have. Sorry, could you come up? Major Jarvis, could you come up? Let's see. Williams, my guy. Who's the clown in the class? Sorry, instructors. Who's the comical one? This guy right here. Point at me. He's older. Come on up. Come on up.
The burrito eater.
That the one you're pointing at? Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Come on up here. Okay, so boss said we had to sit through resilience, SHARP, NCRs, substance abuse prevention. Had to do some inventory that we already did before. Somebody lost it, but we had to do it again. Here we are, right? Side by side. We're gonna go out after this brief. We're gonna have a few beers. We're gonna grab dinner, maybe. We're gonna have a few beers. We're gonna do whatever. We're gonna go out. Who's gonna buy when we're going out?
Major Jarvis.
Sure. New guy. Big money. Corporate. Starbucks. Again, the big bucks. Right? You're gonna buy. What are you buying? Beer. You buying beer?
Shots.
Shots, right? Come on now. I know there's some age differences. Williams, what are you having when you go out? What are your friends having when you go out?
All my friends are having Chuck Norris, I said the brothers Coke.
Okay, see, all right. So beers or shots. Most people start out with shots, don't they? Don't we?
No.
Yes.
Man, you guys are an older crowd now. You're killing me. That's why I needed the younger folks up here. He's having a shot. He's like me. He's already learned the hard way. All right, so we're gonna have a beer. Are we doing anything wrong? No. No. All right. So what kind of beer are we having?
Conditions are bad.
Nordy? Coors Light, all right, how about you, Williams? You have an already? Wow. Great. This is impressive. It's like Trump voters, little closet voters. Yeah, right? Wow. All right, so we're having a grain belt. What do you think the alcohol content is? Anybody know? Or is it, who cares? Who cares? I'm just having a beer, okay. All right, so next. How long did it take to have that beer?
6 minutes.
All right, but somebody bought a shot, didn't they? Somebody bought a round of shots, didn't they? Because we got to get going.
Yep.
Right? Are we doing anything wrong? No. No, I'm not trying to lecture you on happy hour. This happens to us, doesn't it? Are we having shots? The toughest group I've had. So. All right, we're gonna have shots. We have a beer. How long did all that take? Half hour. Are we feeling it yet?
Nope.
No, we're custodians. What's that? More shots, why? Because somebody already bought. You gotta buy, right? Right? And somebody in the group didn't like the shot. Is that you? So we're gonna try and encourage you to have another, right? Are we gonna back down? Is it gonna be like a Scooby snack or whatever, some kind of Chuck Norris? All right.
Big Bob.
Are we having a Chuck Norris? We're gonna do that. All right, who's buying that? You are not buying. Williams is not buying. Maybe a corporal, maybe doubtful. She doesn't want the shot, so it's you, right? All right, so that's 2 shots, 1 beer, or we have another beer at the same time.
You gotta have an Irish shot.
Yeah, you gotta have another beer at the same time, right? Are we doing anything wrong?
No.
You're starting to get home.
You're starting up good. Isn't that why you drink when you go out? Come on, let's be honest. That's what you do, right? All right. So now what? Now what? Are you buying any more?
Sure, we'll get another picture.
Woo! Now we're having pictures. What kind? They don't have northeastern pictures.
Whatever's on tap.
Yeah, Source Light, so that works for her. Yes. All right, so we have those. How long does it take for a pitcher of beer? 4 people?
You talking infantry guy here? So, 5 minutes, get your own.
5 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour. Okay, so we got an hour, hour and a half. Are we drunk yet?
Getting there.
Over the legal limit, for sure.
You think you're over the legal limit? Yeah. 5 drinks, yeah, a lot of you are starting to get the buzz, but you probably, I might be okay. Do you know? Yeah, do you know? I know where I'm at when I drink. I know right where I'm at. I can tell you. I've checked this many times. Okay? But you guys can't really do that. You're not in the field and it's not on your mind. But, all right, so we're gonna have another.
Yep.
Who's married? Who's been married a long time? You're up here for drill, so it doesn't matter. Do you live up here?
Yes.
Are you going home yet? Probably, right? Anthony never went home. Never. You going home? No, you're here. But you're thinking about going back to work on your, whatever the military has you doing for education. Yeah.
Rally.
Yeah.
After 5 drinks.
Game on! Come on over and help me with this. Yes. How about you? You're staying put, right? You're gonna sit and talk with him and tell stories about how you guys were the greatest in the Army way back when, and how everything sucks in the Army now, and this is bullshit. If I was in charge, it would be different. Yeah, right? My first sergeant dogs me, or the first sergeant this or that. The commander doesn't know, not connected. Yeah, you know the stories that happen. So we're gonna have a few more, aren't we? Yeah, all right. All right, so we've distinguished that we're up on the limit. We could be on the fence. Would you drive home? Would you? Yeah. All right. How about you, Williams? Why not?
I don't drive after 1.
Choice. We're gonna have to talk about that. How about you?
I'm walking back.
All right, you guys take a seat. We'll talk about that
Who's gonna bring the 1 week free bag?
more. Yeah.
Walk back in your car.
All right. My point with that scenario is, do we do that? This is where we're making mistakes as soldiers. We're at that point, we decided to have a little bit more, or we didn't make a plan, one of the two. That's it. And you're not making that choice towards the middle land range usually, right? It's usually, and how could you get around that one? We're just meeting for a happy hour. Now here at Ripley, it's kind of controlled, one person will probably drive, right? For the most part. But when you're back at home, you're only 5 minutes from the house, right? Probably gonna go, you're all right. And we know now that the National Guard might get after us because if we get a DWI, commander's not gonna like it. I could lose my rank. People will think less of me. People will know, they'll talk about me. Two, if I have 2 DWIs, they'll probably throw me out. So it's changed a lot, the environment's changed. And we're older too, mostly for the group. But, I mean, back in the real world, happens all the time, college, no big deal. So how do we get around that? How are we gonna get around that? What's that? Have a plan? Right? Have a plan? Okay, what kind of plan?
Just a designated driver.
How many you're gonna have, when you're gonna get out of there? What did you say, sir?
Designated decoy.
All right. What else? What about you, Sergeant? You've been pretty quiet in class. What do you think?
Designated driver,
Designated driver? Yeah.
you wanna get out of there.
Anybody ever been a designated driver? That's an experience, isn't it? Watching your buddies and friends get drunk, you go, that's how I am normally, okay, all right. Yeah, but it's all right. Flip a coin, see who's gonna drive this time. You guys know the deal. You know this, all right? Most people, I'm talking to an older group, so you usually know it. If you're by yourself and you're stopping at a happy hour or whatever, you're stopping on your way home. I know for me, if I stop on my way home, it's probably not a good thing. Doesn't work out very well. I'm a prevention guy. I can't get a DWI. And 2, I'm not gonna get stuff done at home. If I'm a single parent, I only have so much time. It's just gonna slow me down, but I do like having a beer. But I know that about me, that's probably not a great idea to stop. And if I do limit myself to 2 beers. That's just the way it is. Now, you guys have had prevention classes before. I bet you don't remember the stats or the information. How many drinks can you have in a day, according to Department of Health and the Army's official slide back? How many drinks can you have a day? What's that? Male or female, doesn't matter.
Doesn't it depend on the alcohol content?
See, I knew you guys didn't pay attention. Now I'm gonna have to pull up all the Army
No
slides.
more than 14 a week, I think.
Oh, it's kind of fuzzy, but yeah, you're on it. 2 a day. All right. Don't be pulling out those phones and Googling. No, 2 a day. Is that realistic in Minnesota? I first saw those slides, I thought it seemed kind of silly, but 2 a day, all right. How about the consumption rate with the 2 a day? 1 an hour, okay, all right. How about if you're a prior alcoholic, or if you are an alcoholic, I should say, 0, okay? How about if you're watching the Vikings and they're losing? You hang around with your buddies watching football all day. 6. No more than 3, all right? Now the averages I'm telling you, it's called 0, 1, 2, 3. 0 if you're pregnant or underage, or if you have alcoholic issues. 1 an hour, no more than 2 in a day, 3 for a special occasion. So what does that add up to, Master, per week that you could have?
Close to that 14.
14. 14 a week. Anybody here have 14 drinks a week? I used to. Nobody? You get these younger-
Weekend.
Yeah, you get in these younger classes and they go, yeah, that's like 2 days, right? Sounds like a lot, but that's where the government feels that you'll be happy, healthy, you won't have major health problems from drinking, you won't kill your liver. For me, if I have 2 or 3, it means I don't do stupid shit. That's me, right? I don't get to the 5th one or 4th one and go, I can have another and I can have another, or I don't get in situations that I shouldn't be in, so. How would you know that? Take a look at these things up here. This is where I really want to hit home with this group. Okay? Think about this. See if you can say yes to any of these. Anybody say yes to any of those?
Yep.
I could. Yep. You could say yes to 2 or more. You may be well on your way or have a problem with drinking. Think about this now. Look at the gap here. Williams, you're 22. Williams can probably run out there, do the PT test pretty well. Laugh at us old people, right? I put on about 30 pounds since I retired. I'm not thinking about a PT test or running. Not too far. So he can rock it out. When we were all basic training, we could rock it out. As far as PT, we were, the Army gave us food. We complained about it. It was pretty decent. We felt like we were on top of our game. Controlled atmosphere. We're not drinking. We felt really good, right? Basic training, AIT, right? Remember, I know it was a long time ago for some of us, but yeah. Well, think of it like that. When you leave that situation, then you get on with everyday life. You start eating a little bit more. You start changing your habits on PT. You change your surroundings a little bit, who you're running around with, what you're doing. Well, that's not really a big deal, but over time it adds up to be a lot more than what we thought, right? The PT test gets a little harder, height and weight, getting projects done at home. Anybody got any friends that got stuff all over the place, cars up on blocks, projects that just sit undone? You think they planned it that way when they're in their 20s? No, that's how that stuff goes. That's what I'm telling you. This is how you see the signs. But if you got some of this going on, you or your friends or your loved ones, this is where it's at. How can we get around this? You guys are getting somber on me. Come on now. I'm almost done with my class. How
Put
can we
controls on myself.
put some controls on yourself? How do we do that?
Limits, like you said, set rules, like okay, I'm gonna have 2 rates.
Okay, fair. Thank you. How else?
Battle buddy, cover me, or let's both commit to only having 2.
Paddle buddies. You gonna tell me if I had too much?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm the freaking substance abuse prevention guy, you better, right? That'd be a good time right there. Civilian contractor was pounded down at the bar. I told him. And we laughed about it. Okay. Go ahead.
I think even just having honest conversations like, you're not drunk, you're not driving drunk, but hey, you're eating like shit, you're not working out because you're drinking, something like that. Or it's not as dark as we're gonna drive home and kill somebody. It's more like, just little things are getting.
Yes.
You're not meeting these little goals that you said you're gonna.
This is where, in this age group, it hammers home. Where you're like, oh, I guess, yeah, I can see that. My projects aren't getting done. Instead of doing it, I can just say, let's have a beer, I'm tired, put feet up, watch TV. I'll do it on the weekend, blah, blah, blah. Pretty hard to approach your buddy on that, though, isn't it? Isn't it? I mean, Jarka did it to me. He didn't say it in that format. He said, hey, Warren, let's go talk. Major Pets did the same thing. What's going on? Cooking lunch? How are you? What's going on? Oh, I got this going on. That takes a lot of courage from a battle buddy. Especially when I was, Master Sergeant, E8, First Sergeant, whatever. That's hard to do, because we know it all. Go ahead.
I was gonna add to what you said, that statement, like, are you willing to go and tell that person? It's one thing if you're with your peers, maybe not in this uniform. You see heavy rank, some colonel or some first sergeant or some sergeant major tip it back and you're some private. It's gonna be a lot more harder to go up to that soldier and be like, hey, slow it down a bit.
Yeah. I was in Wisconsin filling in for the one of the instructors over there, and I was in a big group, and I called out the first sergeant and a couple other people, and I said, hey, first sergeant, if the private tells you you're having too much, you're gonna listen? He said, hell no, probably not. Hey, thanks for your honesty, right? Private, are you gonna call the first sergeant out? Well, with that group, I get them to commit that they will. That's half the battle. With this group, I don't know. You guys, I think you're probably pretty good, but you already told me you would at the beginning of this class, so remember that. When you are at the canteen and you're wherever, having a few, you're not doing anything wrong, but you said you would call each other out and look out for each other, and it's hard sometimes. So let's not have one more picture, let's just go, or go have a beer back in the barracks, or whatever your rules are. Think about that, okay? Why? Because you don't want anybody to die. 2, you don't want anybody getting kicked out because they get 2 DWIs. 3, right? You gotta find another instructor. Yeah, that's not easy to do. So think about these things, look at them, take it to heart. Okay, the other thing. So I said, what could you do? You said limit your alcohol. Say, you know, your battle buddies, you can look out for each other. What else? This is a big one. What can you do?
Don't drink at all.
Don't drink at all? Is it feasible?
Yeah.
Freaking right it is. Isn't it? Okay, well, but the holidays are coming. Christmas, Thanksgiving, hot drinks, ice fishing's coming. I don't know if I've ever ice fished without beer. Maybe with my kids, but that's only happened twice. So you can do it, but it's hard. New Year's parties. There's St. Patrick's Day. I mean, come on, who doesn't drink on St. Patrick's Day? You see what I'm getting at? All right, so how about this? If you're falling into any of these categories here, even one, okay? Is it making your home life unhappy? Is the spouse going, yeah, you know, it seems like you're drinking a little too much? You might want to consider that. Or is somebody concerned about your drinking? Loved one, battle buddy, whatever. All right, think about that. Try this. Try not drinking for 30 days. Okay? Yep. How many people like drink? Raise your hand again. Don't be shy. Come on now, we're all adults. Like to drink? How many people like to drink? Yeah? All right. Who drinks wine? Oh, I love wine. You drink the whole bottle when you sit down?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. Is that bad? Well, how many drinks is that? Second bottle.
I thought it only came in boxes.
One bottle, 4 drinks? 4. Okay. All right. Well, you know if you get into that second ball, you're going to wake up with a headache, right? Don't you, Hannah? Yeah. But you're not really doing anything wrong. Go ahead.
Something that worked for me. I went to AA, did the 6 month sober thing, and I thought it was all bullshit. But I can say yes to almost everyone who goes out there.
Me too.
And it didn't really change me until I had a shit conversation with myself and asked me what my priorities are in my life. Do I want to be the guy that can drink all night, or I can down 3/4 bottle of bourbon and get up and shot the next day? I just need to see that. What my buddies think of it. What kind of example am I setting? What do you want your legacy to be? And when I had that conversation with myself, just drinking, getting drunk, and doing my buddies just were my priority.
Right? How many of us have done that? I've done that as a platoon sergeant, leading the charge. Go have some beers, have some shots. You too? Right? Anybody else?
Well, that's why I mentioned what I mentioned. I didn't have any of these issues, but I just noticed I wasn't meeting little goals.
Yes, little goals.
Getting into shape, going to the gyms a little harder, but you had a couple of drinks, even 2 or 3 the night before. So it was I never had DUIs, I never had crazy financial issues or family members.
Yeah.
I just had personal things that I wanted to, that I noticed I wasn't enough.
So you guys are getting it. You're getting it. That's what it's all about. I've noticed that about myself, that little things that I just wasn't getting done. And the attitude, it kind of affects your attitude a little bit too. You're like, yeah, whatever, I'll get to that later. Or, yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Who else? Come on, let's share. Be open. Nobody's holding anything against anybody here. Anybody else ever noticed they've been going down the wrong road drinking? Maybe could have. Go ahead.
My dad was an alcoholic growing up, and when I hit 21 years old, that's all I wanted to do, be in the bar, until I lost the job. It was really important to me. And one of the gentlemen from my church that kind of picked up like a father role after my dad was not my life as much anymore. He mentioned to me, he's like, look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself if you're ever doing the things that you look at your dad and shake your head out of your kid. And I would always shake my head at my dad when he'd go to the bar all night and come home and get mad about, little things, dishes not being done, this, that, and the other thing. That's how I noticed that I would go to work, come home, and I drink. Me and my friends would go out to the bars and get drunk, wake up the next morning, the dishes aren't done, and I'm pissed that the dishes aren't done. And so those types of connections that kind of like helps me to look back and say, okay, so my dad was an alcoholic. All these things that got on my nerves when I was in high school, because my dad was always drinking. Now I'm doing the same exact thing, and I'm only 21 years old. How am I going to represent myself and my kids when I don't that I want?
That's powerful. Thanks for sharing that. It's amazing. Yeah, I grew up that way too. People drunk, not my mom, but just brothers and stuff, and other people around me, and other stuff going on, drugs. And my family kind of fell into that, extended family, and I could easily go the same way. But I will tell you what's powerful about that is I know for sure genetics, generations, stuff like that stuff travels. I could sit and tell you stories of when I met my father and how like I was with him, and how I followed both of them, mother and dad, even though I didn't have much structure. So, and it's like my sister told me, as I was trying to explain earlier, she said, Mom never had any training on relationships or anything. She was on her own. So why do you think we're this way? You can do something about it, or you can keep on the same path. So, work for you, you talk to somebody at church, you got the military that helps you, right? Hopefully we help you. You're on the right path. So we've all got those stories is what I'm trying to get at. Nobody wants to share them because it is the military, but hey, this is where it's at. People don't really get after you or call you out if we're very understanding in the military. This subject right here is so easy to fall into, okay? So we agreed we're gonna look out for each other. We're gonna call somebody out, take their keys, definitely if they're drunk. We're gonna look out for each other so we don't get in trouble. And if we see somebody that's struggling, we're gonna try to help them. How can we help them? Well, Jarvie knows all the contacts for Cottage Grove. Commander knows all the contacts for Cottage Grove. Mental wellness, our team. We have licensed drug and alcohol counselors. They don't preach, they just talk to you and let you know what's going on. And then we just see where we can help, okay? If you are struggling, if you have family members that are struggling, this is really important to me, though that we don't advertise that we take care of that. We will take care of your family members. If you have kids that are involved in drugs and you don't know what to do, give me a call, okay? You guys break out your cell phones for me, please. 651, Mr. Anthony, 651. You just put it in there, even if you don't need it, one of your soldiers might. 274 2498. Again, 651 274 2498. You can call me for any reason. Call me if you need a ride home. You can call me if you're having problems with yourself, your spouse, your kids. Just need some advice. Okay? See, I've got an interesting background, so there's nothing you can tell me that I haven't been around. The other thing is I've been a readiness NCO 5 times, operations, been recruiting for a long time, employment cycle sport, state headquarters. I've seen everything. Seen everything, soldiers. I've seen their discharges. I've seen their issues with the JAG. Nothing surprises me, and I don't judge anybody. I'm doing this job because I enjoy it. Contrary to belief, contractors don't make all this great money. I do it because it's fun, and I like the brother and sisterhood. It's right here. We can take care of each other. That's where it's at. Same thing with that suicide prevention. It all comes down to you just talking to your soldiers. So when they're in that bad situation, they call you. I can't tell you how many times people have called me after I've given a class. People call me 4 in the morning, some of these people. Hey, and I look at the phone and I don't recognize that number, and I think, I better look that up. Sure enough, hey, can I just talk to you for a while? Yeah. Right? That's where it's at. So, lastly, Talked about Cottage Grove a little bit. Did you put out resources? Has it been put out with this group at all, sir?
We talked a little bit in one of the first classes, we talked a little bit about like EAPs with civilian employers, and it might not just be a military resource, but we talked a little bit. But if you want to put some of that.
Well, just keep in mind in Cottage Grove, they have some behavioral health counselors that can help you. You know, even when I was in deployment cycle support, running the program on the enlisted side, I saw everybody come and go, and I saw the problems. I seen people that would come and talk to me, but I didn't talk to the counselors. Why? Because I didn't want anybody to know. I'm in charge. I don't want anybody to know I have problems. We all have problems, don't we? So my point is, if you're going down the wrong path and something isn't quite right, I can tell you that the people in Cottage Grove, you can trust them. They're not gonna sit and talk about you, they're not gonna go into your military record, they're not gonna talk to your command unless it's a duty to harm type of thing. So think about that. There's a few counselors down there, one of them that's really good is Darlene Witterstrom. She's been there forever. She'll talk to you, she'll point you in the right direction, and she's really focused on youth too. So that will help. Okay, so think about that. Just if you need those resources, just type Army National Guard, and they're out there on our website, and it'll be on the algorithm. All right, what are your questions? What are your questions?
Do you get to see the roll-up of the whole state's UPIs, or whatever they're called, unit risk assessments?
I do.
And where do we sit compared to other states?
Alcohol-wise, we sit pretty high. Pretty high. Drugs, kind of in the middle. One success story I will tell you is that I know that you guys get piss tested, right? Quite often. We've made it 10% per month now. We really push that. NGB picked it up. Frankly, because it keeps everybody in line. And it keeps it just a part of drill weekends where you know what's happening, it's part of your training schedule. But it works. It works. The units that, when I was briefing my brigades, when I asked people to do 10%, their drug numbers dropped dramatically. So, and we went down almost a full percent in people that are failing drug tests, illicit positives. A whole percent, that's huge across the board for the state, so we're down to 1%. That's because of what you guys are doing, right? You're talking to your soldiers, why they should be a little bit better, why they need to stay away from that stuff. We're in the top 1% of the nation that said we'll do this. That doesn't equal doing drugs, so that's something to be proud about. That's one more step that we went up. As far as anything else on the URIs, sir, you should probably do a URI class for me if you can with this group, if the boss allows you, because you're so seasoned with it. Pull up the RMP. You guys had a couple of indicators. Okay, as a group, alcohol, a little higher, not much, a little higher, 14%. You had a couple other indicators. Biggest things that I see on the URI that stand out is alcohol use, drug use, suicide. You guys had a few of those where somebody had thought about suicide, and a couple actually attempted. So that's surprising. The other thing is Army life, and whether you said you're going to re-enlist, and whether, you know, what your comfort is in the unit. You guys are sitting okay on that. But when I see that units are off the chart with that, it's a problem. I tell you, we've had a unit that consecutively has had problems for the past 3 years when their year has shown it. And the command kind of embraces it, but not a whole lot. Well, this year they had 2 suicides out of 1 company. And it said it on the URI, didn't it, sir? It said it, that, yeah, there's some problems there, a lot of problems, anger issues, drinking problems, coping issues, you know, all the young kids and all of this, but mostly younger kids. So that's something we need to pay attention to. Ma'am, you've looked at your URI, I know you have the RMPs. What do you think of it? Is it a good tool?
You know, I think it's a good tool. I think the whole, when you look at how many surveys we asked our soldiers to fill out, I think it's a little fatigued there now. We haven't felt keep showing up. One thing that's coming up in the surveys is exhaustion, and I wish we as an organization could address that. And align, as mentioned, when Yuri says, say there's some issues in there's there could be some sort of suicide, why we're not utilizing the information coming out of the tool to improve processes. And unfortunately, it's not necessarily even the leadership or the National Guard leadership. It's, we have a lot of pressure right now to be a operational force, and so we're dealing with a lot of additional requirements, and then we've got soldiers who are dealing with life itself being a little bit more challenging, and then so just this really tension, the friction all comes down to the soldiers really in some strategic direction that's happening, and then just life in general is just a little bit more difficult. And so all these things are coming up in the Yuri and command survey. So how do we improve the mechanism, improve that, bring to the surface the realization of the pressure that your soldiers are facing. So that's my perspective of trying to make that all, how do we open that telecommunication based on what you're saying. So, yeah, our year results were okay, but there were things that I was a little distressed about. And so that's why I think the full-time leadership has made a concerted effort to just have more of a authentic, open dialogue conversations with these issues instead of some stupid damn PowerPoint presentation that is mind-numbing and soul-sucking.
Right. That's pretty awesome, thank you, Mel. That's where it's at, and you guys are pretty senior here, most of the ranks. Eventually you'll probably go back to units. You gotta keep that in mind, because that is a major problem. I mean, I just had a long drawn out conversation last week with a 2-star on this. It was kind of a battle. But that's up to him and the rest of the leadership to decide when are we gonna say enough is enough when it comes to all the requirements. Because we need this time. We need this time, not the, not the,
Check and block.
check in the block or the touchy-feely where somebody rambles on the, the gears are turning in this room because all the eyes are right here and I see it. It's like, yeah. You guys make the difference. I mean, senior NCOs, right? And also when you're talking to these soldiers in the classes, you gotta look for those indicators because they're there. You can just see it. Just like being a parent, you can just see it. Major Jarvie, when he took over his last unit, it was the worst unit in the state. Commander before him brought us in, we did a stand down. Multitudes of problems, drugs, alcohol just kept tumbling. And he said, enough. First of all, he cut out the people that didn't belong there, right? He got rid of the ones that just shouldn't be there, that were causing problems. At a couple of levels too. What else did you do, sir?
Split up the different range structures, got each of the range structures going in there. Just cleaned up as much of the low-hanging fruit as possible within the first 90 days, and then just continued to impress upon the leaders that they had to just show that they cared a little bit. Although it's saying that soldiers aren't going to care, so we show as a leader that you care first. So we really kind of took that to heart. After 2 years, it was a huge success story in the unit. There was pride in the unit. People wanted to be there. People took care of each other. Families started showing back up to family events. So there were a lot of good things that happened that came out of that unit. But it really was breaking down the barriers, and I think one of the barriers was, there's, as leaders, we think about, it's a hard thing for us to ask, right? When we talk about it at the end of the resilience portion, the ideal model, and that asking is the hardest part. And if you've never asked the question to somebody, like, hey, how are you doing? I think sometimes there's stress that goes along with that question because we feel like we gotta fix the problem once we open ourselves up to hear what the issues are. But as leaders, we're not required, we don't expect you as leaders to have to fix the problem, but we do expect ourselves as leaders to be able to connect to our resources. And so that was kind of the message we took to the HRC, and we just learned the resources, we learned how to ask the question, and soldiers started talking a little bit more. When they found out that we just were truly interested in making sure that they were all right versus trying to counsel them and, push them on their way, then they started being a little bit more open to the idea that where I could be safe and I have people that can take care of me. So the reality was that some of those soldiers, that was the only family they had, right? So they didn't talk because, well, this is all I got. So if I don't have this and I start talking, what do I have after the military? So,
That one's key. All I had was the military. Shit, this is where I'm at still, even as a contractor. I didn't need to be a first sergeant, master sergeant, getting a bazillion emails every day, getting caught up in staff meetings. That wasn't working anymore for me, but still to have the affiliation with my brother and sister is amazing. Even when I'm trying to do this phony hunting beer up here, I'm gonna try it once. But this is the point, you guys, you gotta realize that for some people, this is all they have. These soldiers that are on the fence when they come in and we just kind of ignore them because they're marginal, you don't get to do that. You gotta go get them. They're in now. You gotta embrace them because it's probably the only structure they have, 1 weekend a month. Somehow you gotta get it past that where you're kicking their ass like that E7 did with me. And I know it takes time. We get so caught up in all the busy stuff. That's up to the boss to say, whoa, let's rein it back and we're not gonna continue to charge hard as much as we are. We're gonna sit and do a little taking care of each other. She's working on that. And now it's up to you guys as we move forward. Okay. All right. As far as AR, what else would you like to see for your group in this type of brief? And how am I doing on time?
Just an observation would be more, if we're gonna have dialogue, discussion, let's look at each other. So,
Yeah, I thought about that.
the
I almost rearranged the class, but I didn't want to upset you guys. That was tough.
It's not upsetting, look at all these able bodies that can chairs and tables.
Yeah.
It's just a thought, it does.
I agree,
open it up.
don't you?
As an instructor, when people are responding to questions or statements, they're often directing them at the person who's facilitating, or encourage them to look at their peers or the audience, so just something, a takeaway as
Thank you.
well.
I agree, thank you. What else? Substance abuse class for you guys, not the rest of the force. I do it dynamically different for the rest of the force. What do you think?
Direct approach, no bullshit, talking openly.
Are we doing that?
Yes.
That's where it's at. Thank you.
If you spoke to your audience as we were, you understood that we're senior members of the force here, so.
We're peers, yeah.
Yep.
You know, I'm not quite looking
Well,
like. Yeah. What else? All right, next time we come up, and I'll come up anytime you want, even if it's still this year. I'll do what I do with some of the other groups. I'll do pedal cart training. And I do have the beer goggles if you want to take time, if you've ever seen them before. Different levels of alcohol. I can draw a line up here and you guys can do sobriety line walking if you like. What do you think? Should we do one? One group? Do you have time, or are we trying to get out of here?
Sure, man.
What's that? Drive on? Try them anyway. Why don't we just try them? Come on up, God. Master Sergeant, come on up.
I'll help him out.
All
Help your
right.
battle, buddy.
Don't we need to
All
put
right.
padding on sharp corners or something before he puts those on?
Help your battle,
Let's
buddy.
move this table out of the way. All right. What we're gonna do, so if you were to get pulled over, this is what they would ask you to do. They'd ask you to put your hands to your sides. Right? And for you guys, I want you to look at the line and stand on the line before you put the goggles on. Okay, you're gonna go heel toe, hands at your side. I can hardly do this as an old man sober, but heel toe. Okay? You're gonna take 10 steps, and you're gonna turn around or do an about face and come back. Okay, hands at your side.
You want us to drink 10 beers first?
Well, we're kind of simulating that, but I have done that, and we'll talk about it briefly right after this. I have done that. Okay, this one's about 7, 8 beers. That's point 1, 2 to point 1.5. These are kind of rocking. If they make you sick, then you see the line at all? Can't see a line? How about you,
You want to
Nick?
trade? I can see a line. You want to trade?
I think that's sort of the point.
We can give you a different set of goggles. There you go. Let's try this one. Well, training aids. Try this one. You got it?
PMCS, your goggles, good job.
Keep you ready? You got it. Come on, Gomer, let's do this.
Are you closing your eyes? You're doing pretty good.
That's better than normal.
Yeah, all right.
Looks like you've been.
Yeah, how many
practicing
steps is
this.
that?
You know, that's a good 7-8 beers right there. Continuously.
Hurry up, we'll go to our house and drink.
He's
some.
much better with heavy machinery after that kind of.
You work at Ripley?
Let me draw. Well, what is this content, alcohol strength?
We're at 1.2, 1.5, that would, depends on the individual, but 6, 7, 8, 9.
I'll tell you right now, it's like far left. My foot
You
is
got
over
it,
here.
you're on it.
Oh yeah, hands to the side. Sorry about that, officer.
Yeah.
Oh, this is terrible.
So come up without the goggles. I want to see if you can do it without the goggles. Let's be fair.
Establishing the baseline.
All right, you got it. Right? You do it
Whoops,
without
couldn't do it. Still drunk.
The other thing they do is they check your eyes, right? Anybody in law enforcement? Oh yeah, we've had classes together, that's right. Yep. So
Stagman said.
yeah, I've seen people do this where they have you spin around for 2 minutes, and then they have you track your eye and you'll see that it bounces. It works, try it. It works. Try it and move yourself. Spin around for 2 minutes, stop, and then move your eye. Or its finger, and you'll see it twitching. So think about that. It only takes that 1 or 2 extra drinks at happy hour. That's where we're at. That's where we're getting at, especially for this group. Oh, also, we did a DWI summit, DWI Drug Reduction Summit. Was anybody part of that? Yeah. How did that go?
Good.
Good. What did you learn?
Well, like you did, I didn't partake in the group exercise. That was pretty. There was a lot of good feedback from that. Where they'd actually have a breathalyzer, and there was a highway patrol there,
Yeah.
and they'd let you drink. You know, so if you know, it's kind of a unique opportunity because they give you a drink. Did you cover the drinks and everything, or?
We did, yes.
So, you know, it just kind of gave an idea where they were at, you know, after so many drinks. It was in a controlled environment, so, you know, that was a good.
I fought for that for 3 years. We finally pulled it off. Did sobriety training for people that came from each unit all over the state, so that we could train individuals like yourselves to go out and do the sobriety or you know, substance use prevention training. We brought in testimonials. We had a lot of videos. We had a lot of stuff going on, and we had the sobriety training testing. Okay, so we had a breathalyzer machine from a company called Intoxibox. If you want to check it out, we've placed one at the canteen, back by the bathroom. I installed it myself, it works. I've tried it out. We installed one at Cabin Fever. It's in phone booth as you walk in. Put that one in. And we installed one at Boomerangs. You guys know where that is?
No.
Yeah, they love it. They love it. Try it out. Ladies know where it's at over there.
Does it have a cap?
Huh?
Does it have a cap? I'm like, oh, I don't know.
It does have a cap, 1.6. They've capped it off so people don't make a game out of it. Because they did. When I sat and watched people in that bar, they did make a game out of it. Here's what we found out though. Within the first week that they used it over there, after a couple of people used it, they went to the bartender and said, hey, can I call for a ride? I had no idea. Yeah, that's where it's at. That's what we want, don't we? We don't want to insult you and say, don't drive, don't drink, don't blah, 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 right? They talk so much at Cabin Fever that the canteen, who I approached, because we're working this with a company, they put them there for free for us. That's the bottom line. Said, I want one of those in my facility. Why? Because somebody at Cabin Fever did the same thing, said, I need to call for a ride. They talked about it. So that's where it's at. And these guys are doing it free, so check it out. It's right outside the gate. Looks like a DVD player, like the, you know, the jukeboxes nowadays. Okay, if it's not working, call me and let me know, so I can call the company. Also, they wanna put one on post, I don't know about that. Commander says yes, post commander says we can do that, it would be right here at this facility, so. If somebody comes into your class and they're still drunk, and you've noticed it before, you can bring them over there and have them breathalyzed. Or you as a commander can do that on a drill weekend if you're here. You're not trying to bust anybody out. I mean, what you would do after that is make a decision whether you'd call law enforcement and have them go through the whole ball of wax, or whether you'd go, all right, this was your one time, I've told you about this. And you'd sit down and get to it, figure out what's going on, and this needs to stop, because this is how it's affecting you. Right? So we can do that. Also, they're trying to place them strategically across the state too, so check it out. What else can you do? I've got a little handheld breathalyzer. I'm not advocating for any company. It's $50 though. It's called BAC. I've checked it with their breathalyzer device. Checked it with the Highway Patrol. Oh, and by the way, the Highway Patrol said that the systems we used there at that event were more accurate than theirs, because the system cleans itself out, and they had to wait times, and their devices were different. All the readings were different, but the devices we used were the same. I don't want to start a debate. It comes down to calibrating and all that stuff when people use it, but they're accurate is what I'm trying to tell you. With the little handheld that I've used, it's pretty close. It tells me, you know, I know if I'm getting up there a little bit, then I just don't drink. But more so I do it because I want to see what it's like for classes that I do it. Go ahead.
Why did the man gate say no?
How did you know? How did you know the main gate said no?
I thought they said no.
Canteens, other places.
They did. I was shocked because I like that place. It's nice, it's big, it's got good food. You know, they're afraid of the liability that people will see somebody else use the machine, and then they're afraid that they're liable if that person walks out of the bar and they didn't do anything about it. Okay, there's a waiver on that machine. We also have umbrella coverage for a couple million on the machine. It also says if you use this, it's for amusement only. It's also placed in an inconspicuous area where people usually can't do that. So you guys work on them for us, would you? Because that's pretty important. You know, ask them when you're over there. You should get one of those Intoxi boxes like they have at the canteen. I think it's good, and they're doing it for soldiers. You know, the owner of the company is in the military, so they want to help you guys. So I'll give you these machines for free to use around wherever you want. So, okay. I think that's about all I have. Oh, for the next class, what I can do is bring in Highway Patrol. It's really interesting. You've got Highway Patrolmen in class. Watch some of their videos. They're pretty killer. Wow, that's a bad word to use. Yeah, they are good. One thing I'd like you to do, all of you, please watch the texting and driving video that the Highway Patrol has. Please type in Minnesota Highway Patrol texting and driving on YouTube. Okay, whatever. Look, I grew up, I recruited for 10 years. I always had a word black for it. It became a disease of checking that phone, right? Especially in recruiting. I got out of the military, I would always check my phone still, and finally I woke up and said, Warren, you're not that important, first of all. Nobody's texting you or emailing you and saying they gotta have this anymore. And two, look at when you're doing it, it's such a habit. The reason why I'm asking you to do it is because I bet a lot of us in this room do look at our phones. If you look at that video, you'll see the Minnesota National Guard soldier ran over a family checking his phone. So it'll set you back. I'll pull it up right now if you want, but it's pretty, I can already watch it after leaving home usually. So go ahead for sure.
And if I could add to that, as a leader, trying to get a hold of somebody, don't expect an answer back right away. Because I've had leaders in my past that are like, why didn't you get back to me? I was driving. You know, don't feel the need if your leadership is trying to get a hold of you and you see on your phone and you're driving, you don't need to answer that, right? Don't use it as an excuse like, you're driving for 5 days. But seriously, you know, you don't have to answer right
Or
away.
just pull over to
You
the
don't
side.
have to answer right.
So, Check it out.
I had a
though.
boss like that, not here.
Taxi and driving Minnesota Highway Patrol video. It's worth the watch. Also, I can also bring in what's called a pedal cart course. When I first started here, because I worked for recruiting, I thought, how can we make this fun and make it so it's worthwhile? So I set up a course with these beer goggles and carts. It's pretty eye-opening. It's pretty good experience, even with the goggles that are the lightest. That seems to really hit home with people. So I'll do that next time if you want. Say, hey, Anthony, come on up and do this, whatever. We can do it at the rec center, works out well in the winter. Okay? Anything you want. All right? Questions? Everybody's got my number? All right, you can call me anytime. I don't care if it's 3 in the morning. I'll just call Jarvie because he lives closer to you. He's in your company. All right. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
So we get 5 minutes, and then Colonel Zilhart will be up talking about sharks.
Absolutely.
5 minutes, please, be back in the classroom.
Mr. Anthony?
For the roster.